I'll be with you all very shortly, folks. Thank you, Rodney. Good, Bob. Give me a moment, Bob. I'm going to be right back with you, and Julie too. Very shortly, folks. Thank you, Rodney. Good, Bob. Give me a moment, Bob. I'm going to be right back. Yeah. Sure. Dee, 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 dee. Yeah, well, welcome on board, everybody. All right. I'd like to dedicate this one to Julie. I know it's been a tough week for her, and so this is for her. I'm going to say a few hellos once we've done this, and like I usually do, have a little bit of a chat and a little bit of a hello with everybody. This one goes like this. And have you ever seen peaches growing on a sweet potato vine? And have you ever seen peaches growing on a sweet potato vine? Well, wake up, mama, take your legs off mine. Yeah, well, I'm going up country. Baby, don't you want to go? baby, don't you wanna go? 'Cause when I leave here, babe, I ain't coming back no more. And I love that woman, I just can't call her name. Yeah, I love that woman, I just can't call her name. 'Cause she's a married woman, but I love her just the same. Well, I'm going up country, yeah, baby, don't you wanna go? Yeah, I'm going up country, baby, don't you wanna go? But when I leave here, babe, I won't be coming back no more. Well, see here, woman, look what you done done. Yeah, look here, woman, look what you done done. But you caused me to love you, and now your man don't come. Well, I'd give you my money, all my loving too. I'd give you all my money, and all my loving too. Well, tell me, babe, what more can I do? Hey, hello everybody, and thank you for joining me for tonight. Welcome back. Great to see you all as usual. Hopefully we've got a few people here. I've seen a few names going up already, and even a few new names, which is always nice as well as all the usual viewers. Wonderful to see you. I hope that the kind of time since we last caught up has been kind to you and you've had a nice couple of weeks. It's great to be back, as I say. And so there you heard me playing a song called Have You Ever Seen Peaches? And it's really nice, and it kind of leads me on to a point which I just briefly wanted to touch on, which was about finger picking. Now, I know that there are some of you out there who are more kind of flat pick or plectrum players, and some people indeed do find finger picking a little bit of a challenge that they don't really want to kind of embark on, or a little bit worried about doing because you feel you can't do it. And I'd just like to say that obviously you can do all of this stuff, and you know, I'm forever saying that to you. You're probably getting sick of me saying all these type of things, okay? So I'm not going to stop saying them, because I want, you know, one of my main jobs is to try and encourage you all to keep going with what you're doing and everything, and to experiment and try and push yourselves as well, okay? So it's nice to be able to be in a comfort zone and play the things that you're comfortable with, but it's also good to stretch ourselves and try and challenge ourselves, because that way I think we get better a little bit quicker. So I'd like to just say a few hellos, because we've got a lot of things to cover tonight, and I can see already that we've got Terry Cook. Thanks, and great to see you, Terry. We've got Julie, as I say, who that one was dedicated to, and we've got Juan Salamanca. Great to see you, Juan. I don't know that I've seen you before. Rod, hey, it's fantastic to have you back, Rod. And Jeff Teasdale from somewhere in the Middle East. Wonderful to see you too, Jeff. I'm not sure I'm familiar. We've caught up before, but great to see you here, okay? Richard, wonderful to see you. Bonjour. Gary Curtis, as usual. Rodney, East Coast of the US, wonderful to see you. I think you asked about lessons and things like that. I think some of the folks here will probably be able to tell you about Patreon. That's probably the place to head if you're looking for more of what I do and kind of, you know, developing your guitar skills. Yeah, so I'm sure there are many more out there because not everybody can comment, and so I'd just like to say a huge hello to everybody, whether you can comment or whether you can't. All right. So coming back to this thing about the finger picking, as I say, it's something that you definitely want to have a go at if you haven't already, because in a sense, it takes your playing to the next level. It's a really, for myself, it's been a fantastic journey. From when I started finger picking to where I am now. Um, the time I spent doing this has been time well spent. And like I say, it's really important to just be in the moment and not get frustrated and just realize, just try and enjoy what you're doing at that moment in time. And I think if you treat the guitar like that, then you're going to progress really, really well. Okay, so that's what I would suggest to you. And so I forgot to say hello to Leo there, one of our regular people. Hey Leo, great to see you. So what I want to go on to say is that with regard to all this finger picking and things like that, open tunings can be a fantastic way, like almost like a nice gateway for you to get into. Now, obviously, you can look at it in standard tuning. Okay. Now, what I would say to you is that if you're looking to get into a little bit of finger picking and things like that, I'll just pop this one down for a second, and I'll pick this one up for a second. Okay. I'm glad that you're. Hello, Salvatore. Great to see you. And I'm glad that the tabs are helping you, Karina. That's fantastic. So, if you think of finger picking as like a piano and you have a left hand and a right hand, and generally speaking, not always, but generally speaking, you'll have a bass in that left hand and you'll have a melody in the right hand. Well, this is all accomplished with our right hand on the guitar. And what happens to kind of emulate that feel, if you like, is that we have the thumb playing the left hand on the piano and then the fingers playing the right hand on the piano. Now, when you're just getting started, if it's something that you really want to give it a try, and I've done many lessons over on Patreon and YouTube and places on this, so you can check those out, is to just doodle around and say pick 3 chords, Yeah, it could be C, F, and G, let's say. And the idea being is that initially what you want to try and do is just play the bass, okay? Now, I'm just trying to think really the best way for you to go on this. Okay, so like I say, you can pick any 3 chords as a starting point, I would say, right? So let's just say we choose D, all right, because that's a little bit easier. And what you can do if you want to get started in this is to just, hey brother, great to see you, Ernie, I'm glad you could join the show, wonderful to have you on board. So what I'd like you to think about when you're doing this finger picking thing is to, if we're in the key of D, we're going to play 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4. Now if you're a beginner, you might find that a challenge. Now I know for many of you, because you've been playing for quite some time, that wouldn't be a challenge. Okay, so this is for the people who are looking to get started. So you're going to go 5, 4, 5, 4, and that's going to be the very first step. Then you might go to your G and you play 6, 4. Back to your D, 5, 4. All right, and then an A, 5, 4. And back to your D, 5, 4. All right, or 4, 5. You can do that either way around. Now, as I often say, when you're watching this show, it's a great idea to have your guitar and a pen and paper, because you never know what little tips are going to come up, and sometimes writing them down really helps them stick a little bit. All right, so make sure you got your little pen and paper, because I want you to write that down if you possibly could. Okay, so think about this. Okay, one more time. When you're playing the D, you're going to play, now as I say, you can play 5, 4, or you can play 4, 5. And then we go to G, 6, 4, 6, 4, back to D, 4, 5, to A, 5, 4, and back to D, 4, 5, all right? Now, like I say, I was doing a little bit of a brush there as well as the bass, and that might be too much of a challenge when you're very, very first starting out. So just stick with those bass notes. Very, very simple. Once you can do them, and you can pick any chords you want, right? But that was just to show you. Now, once you can do that bass thing, going 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 4, 6, 4, 4, 5, and all the rest of it, yeah? Once you can do that really, really comfortably, then what you can do is just do a little brush with the rest of your fingers. So you go. Okay? That would be the next step to do, all right? Now, that is something that I would definitely urge you to have a go at if you're not a finger picker and you're just a flat pick player or whatever. It's a great little gateway to get you started and just pick 3 chords every time you have a little bit of a practice and see if you can get the bass working, all right? And a little brush is the first step, all right? Because you can't do all this kind of fancy stuff until you've got these little basics out of the way. That's very, very important to do that, okay? Hello, Germany, Tobagiga. Okay, great to see you. Okay, so that's something I'd like you to think about in standard tuning. Now, as I mentioned to you, you can also have open tuning, which is what I was using for Have You Ever Seen Peaches? And the beauty of doing this is that you can get something very, very musical with a bass and a melody very simply, okay? So for example, you will have heard me play Vestapol, and that's just this tune. I'll play you just a little bit. Okay, so you will have heard me play that, right? And you know, it sounds nice, as I'm sure you'll agree, and things like that, but there are just little elements of that you'll be able to practice, you know, if you're just starting your finger picking journey, because that is exactly what I'm saying. All we're really doing here is we're playing a little bit of bass, exactly what I've told you, 6/4, and in an open tuning, this is open D tuning. And you can check this out on my Patreon, okay? There's lots of open D stuff. And Vestapol is this thing if you're interested in it, all right? And that, again, that's over at Patreon. So you've got your 6/4, like so. Now, if you think about it, all that's happening is I'm going. Now that is not hard. Even if you're a beginner and you put a little bit of time into that, you will get it down, without a doubt. And it feels great if you haven't done it before, right? So you'll be thinking, wow, that's nice. Now admittedly, when you come into the, it gets a little bit harder, but it's not ridiculous. You know, you can just, now, like I always say, slow is where it's at, all right? Because that's the way you're going to do stuff. If you start trying to play out of your depth and you start trying to play everything a little bit too quickly, it's all going to go pear-shaped, generally speaking. So that's my little bit of a chat with you about finger picking and how it can transform your playing and take you in other directions. And really, you know, once you get going down this path, then the world's your oyster. There is so much stuff that you'll be able to think about playing. And you know, a lot of the blues that many of you folks like, you know, Robert Johnson, things like that, you know, is all going to be accessible over time. I've just noticed I've got a great big lot of reflections going on with this guitar, so I can't do a lot about it because the sun's belting in here, and I don't want to plunge ourselves into darkness because it will be pretty dark out there. So, alright, time for another little tune, I think. I'm going to play you something else now. Let me see what I can play for you. And don't forget we've got our play along tonight as well, which I'm really looking forward to. Whoa. Right, now, as we're in open D tuning, and I've been kind of speaking to you recently about women of the country blues, and I often play a little bit of Memphis Minnie, or, you know, I've played, yeah, that you can't play slow, Joe says. So, hey, great to see you, Julie and Wesley. Lovely I've seen just popped up there. So, yeah, we've been talking about the women of the country blues, and generally speaking, I tend to take a look at Memphis Minnie because she's a personal favourite, and indeed I'm going to play you probably a Memphis Minnie again tonight. It's a new one that I've just recently done over on Patreon, and I wonder how you're all getting on with that. I know it's a little bit of a handful, but I also know that there are some of you out there that really love that stuff and are able to get it down. Just remember there are two versions of the song that I've done. I've done a simple version and an original version. So be ready, have your guitar ready. When I play that, you might like to do the backing for me, and I'm going to do the original, and you might like to do the backing if you've had a chance to look at it. Okay, now this one is another one by one of the ladies, but it's different lady. Instead of Memphis Minnie, her name is Jessie May Hemphill, and she had a song called I'm So Glad, and it goes like this. I'm going to play it for you. So glad you don't know what's on my mind. I'm so glad you don't know what's on my mind. Say the woman that I'm loving, she sure ain't none of mine. I can see her when I want her, and I see her when I can. I can see her when I want her, and I see her when I can. When we are together, I don't know when I see her again. Buy me a brand new Cadillac, I'm gonna buy me a brand new Cadillac, I changed my mind. I bought me a Lincoln instead. I don't care what you say, baby, but I'm gonna make it someday. I don't care what you say, baby, I'm gonna make it someday. I'm so glad trouble don't less away. I'm so glad trouble don't less away. Said, look here, baby, everything's gonna be alright someday. Yeah, so there you have a little bit of Jessie May Hemphill, okay? Probably not heard of her. She's one of these she was one of the country blues singers, and that was called I'm So Glad, and it's another song which is in drop D, and that's going to be another Patreon exclusive. That's coming to you next week. So if you're interested in that song, you'll be able to have a go at it. And again, it's not as difficult as what it might seem, okay? So I hope that you kind of enjoy that one. These things sound great on this guitar. This guitar is great, you know, and each guitar has its own personality. You know, they all produce something different. I think people who don't really play guitar are like, well, why have so many guitars? Or, you know, why have more than one guitar? Well, because they're different and they all have different character. Obviously, a dreadnought is very, very different to a tremolo and all these other type of things, okay? So I'm glad you enjoyed that one, Pat. I wasn't sure if that was your cup of tea. And Karina, that's great. Lisa, I'm glad that you enjoyed that as well. Lovely to have you here. Okay, yeah, so the lesson will be coming your way on that one, Karina. So you should be all right to go with that one. So how are we all doing with our playing lately? I'm keen to know how you're all getting on, and have you all been playing much and things like that? Because like I say, I like to be able to encourage you, and you know, I think you're doing a fantastic job. Every time you pick up the guitar, you've got to realise that you're getting better. And also, I'd like to just point out that, you know, we all have days, and me included, right, when, let me just move this out of the sunshine. I don't want to get in sunburn. Where was I? Yeah, so we all have these times when we pick up the guitar and everything seems to work really well, and then we pick it up, you know, on a different day and everything sounds awful, right? And you know, this happens right across the board. It's just that it's to different degrees. And so the one thing that you need to really do is just to keep picking it up and never put it down for a very, very long time. As long as you keep picking it up, you're going to be getting to be a very, very good musician over time, all right? But like I said earlier on, it's very important to just be in the moment. I think what can put a lot of people off, and with people that I've taught and things like that, people that I've come across and spoken to over the years, is that it's the people who look too far ahead who can give up the guitar because they see it, oh, well, it's just going to be years before I can do that, or before I can do this, or play like him, or play like her. Well, it's not the greatest attitude to have. You just need to think, I'm doing this at the moment, I'm enjoying this at the moment, and you know, I know what I'd like to do in the long term, and these steps that I'm taking at present are the things that are going to lead me to that place. But as I'm going along this road, I want to enjoy the journey. All right, now, you know, I've said a lot of that over the years, right? Okay. So John Seck and Wayne Dell, great to have you guys here as well. All right, so are we ready for our first play along? I hope you've got your guitars ready. Okay, first one is going to be the easier song of the two. We've got two play alongs tonight. First one is Eleanor Rigby and the second one is Wonderful Tonight. Now I'm just, whilst you're all getting your guitars ready, I'm just going to have a little word with the beginners out there. And I'm hoping that you're going to sing along as well. I'm just going to get my lyrics here, because you know what I'm like with my lyrics. I do sometimes need a little bit of help because I just know hundreds of songs and it's impossible for me to remember all the lyrics. I don't know. Hopefully it's not dementia. So I'd like you to those of you who don't play, I know there are some of you out there, please sing along because I can hear you and I like to hear you. So hopefully you got your guitars right. Those of you, what I want you to think about, the beginners out there, is this is just E minor and C. Very, very easy song, yeah? Very, very easy. You got nothing to worry about here. And if you lose your place, it doesn't matter. Just try and come back in. I mean, there are only the two chords, so you shouldn't find it too difficult. And the thing about this song is that it starts on a chorus. So we're going to start on the C, all right? And then it will go to the E minor. So the chorus is, ah, look at all the lonely people, right? At that stage we go to our E minor. Alright, so just before we get started, would like to just help the beginners so they can join us. That's the whole point, okay? So just so you know, essentially the feel of the song is like the C. Ah, look at all the lonely people. E minor. C. Ah, look at all the lonely people. Now don't worry about all this down, up, down, up. It comes from the soul, your heart. Don't, you know, just strum as you see fit. That's absolutely fine by me, and that's what I like to hear. And what I'd also like you to do is just try and hear where those changes are going to fall. I know that many of you out there are kind of past this stage, right, and you're all very, very good and stuff. But as I say, for any beginners who are tuned in and things like that, I'd like to give them a little bit of a heads up. We've got a lot of ground to cover tonight. So, are we ready? I want to, as hopefully, well, I often make the mistake of saying, are we ready? And then you're going to have to put your instruments down and start saying yes, no, yes, or whatever it might be. So I'm going to take it that you're ready. I'm just going to have a little drink of my sparkling water. And then we're going to go. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, false alarm. Just testing you. Right, here we go. This is for real. 1, 2, 3, 4. I look at all the lonely people. I look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in a church where a wedding has been. Lives in a dream, waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for? All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? Father Mackenzie, writing the words of a sermon that no one will hear. No one comes near, look at him working, darning his socks in the night when there's nobody there. What does he care? All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? Well done, everybody. I look at all the lonely people. Excellent. Great singing as well. I look at all the lonely people. Eleanor Rigby died in the church and was buried along with her name. Nobody came, Father Mackenzie, wiping the dirt from his hands as he walks from the grave. No one would stay, all the lonely people. Where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Where do they all belong? Sing, everybody. I look at all the lonely people. I look at all the lonely do that one more time, yeah? Look at all the lonely people. Bit high for me, Gary. Look at all the lonely people. Absolutely well done, folks. Really great effort, okay, for everybody who had a go at that. That's fantastic, yeah? Always great to do our play-alongs. I really enjoy this part of the show, and it's wonderful to have you all having a go, okay? It is a bit hard to sing that one. I thought I'd give you all a bit of a challenge, and myself included in that as well. Way too high for me, really. But you've got to have a go. And like I say, don't worry too much. Sometimes we need to have a go to think, you know what, I'm going to drop that song into a different key where it will suit my voice better, or whatever the case may be. It's just good to take part. That's the main thing. All right, so that's the main thing. Now then, we have had a little break from our little lead playing, our little melodic playing, where we've been going. Do you remember this? I'm sure you do. Hello, Scott. Okay, so this is something we've been jamming over, and I've been trying to teach you a little bit of melodic playing, and they're the riffs that we've used, and I'm hoping that you haven't forgotten them, because I haven't got the time to spend on them this week. We've got too much to think about, so hopefully you remember them. And also the fact that we can play them in different positions, so we can play them here. And essentially they're all coming from the C major pentatonic. And for those of you who aren't too clear about what the C major pentatonic is, well, it's the same as the A minor pentatonic, only we start on the C note here. Okay? And one thing I'd like to just give you a little bit of a heads up on before we get started on this. We haven't got too much time to spend on this, okay? And I'm hoping you've all got your guitars ready for this, yeah? So this is the blues in C. Now, we've been talking about pentatonics over at Patreon, okay? Different ways to remember them, different ways to play them, and it's all about trying to remember these positions. And hopefully some of you are doing some work on this, and maybe some of you are already proficient at this type of thing. But let me just say that with this C major pentatonic scale, where we have, everybody's familiar with position 1 by now, okay? And what we have on the bottom 2 strings are 5/8, 5/8. Now, if we play 6/8, that's the next position up, the bottom 2 strings. And the nice thing about that is that also position 5 is, we've got it here as well. So what I want you to think about here is that you can play 3/5, and I'm just talking about the first and the second strings. It's important to know that. All right, so we've got 3/5, 3/5, 5/8, 5/8. And we've got 6/8, sorry, 8/10 I should say. 8/10. And that's that lick that we play when we go to the F. Okay? So that means we've got... Okay, so that's a nice way of remembering different parts of the pentatonic on a couple of strings. Again, this is something that we've looked at. Good to see that you're all paying attention. I always know when the screen goes clear that you're all very focused, and that is something that I like to see. All right? So I'm hoping that you're good, and I'm hoping that that's reminded you of some of the things that we've done. And like I said the last time we did this, I want to see some of you trying to play to kind of, you know, whilst remembering these licks that I've shown you, to feel the freedom to move between a couple of positions, you know, so you can kind of just feel the freedom to just move around. Doesn't matter if you hit any wrong notes and stuff like that. That's the whole point, you know. because until you do start hitting a few wrong notes, you never really know where to go. All right, so this is a kind of educational thing whereby we're training our ears to hear which are the things that work. So enough said, time to get on with it, time to get started. So I hope that you're ready. Oh, now remember, just before I press our buttons, we got. So if you're really stuck and you're a real beginner and you're just at that stage, hello Canada, nice to see you Andrew, then you can stick with those licks if that's where you're up to, but just remember to experiment through these things. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4 and... Alright, over to you folks, go for it. Yeah, really. Fantastic stuff, folks. Keep it rolling. Okay, go for it. One more time. Lovely stuff. Well done. It's all in the key of C. Alright, we're going to go around one final time now. Nice and simple. Well done to you folks, really, really well done. Great that you have a bash at all these type of things, because it will really improve what you're trying to do. And I've done a little bit of a lesson on the ditto. The really handy little things, as I've pointed out in the past before to you, you can just set up a little loop like that, you know, and just mess about until your heart's content. So I think that you know, that's a nice thing to be able to do. And if you're interested in developing your melody, then I would suggest it's a no-brainer to go do something like that. Yes, we do need some lyrics, Ring of Fire, for sure. Is it Scott? I'm never sure. I always forget, by the way, but I think it might be. So yeah, if anybody wants to chuck some lyrics up there, please feel free to do that. That would be absolutely great. And I don't mind giving them a go if you have some. All right, so that's something that we can do in the future. Yeah, a lot of people seem to like this this soloing section part of the show. Yeah, and I can see why, because, you know, I think many guitarists have a thing about wanting to be able to play some lead. You know, it's a kind of natural thing, progression on from once you're playing a few chords and stuff like that, to be able. It's Gary. Okay, sorry about that, Gary. You know, so it's a kind of next step in a way. I mean, it's not to say that everybody wants to do that, but, you know, generally speaking, it is something that people would like to do. So we've done our jam, okay? Now remember, just before we move on, because what I wanted to say to you was that the where are we? Yeah, so the little things in these pentatonics, what you want to be looking for is little things that you can remember within the shapes. Like I've just pointed out to you, if you're just, say for example, you're playing an A minor pentatonic, as I've said, it's pretty much the same as a C major. The only difference is your starting note, right? So if you think of that 5-8-5-8 in position 1, it's always going to be that on the bottom 2 strings, right? 5-8-5-8. And then you got that little kind of 2-box thing, 3-5-3-5, which is, you know, what we were just doing there, right? And then your 5-8-5-8, and then you've got that, what you've got here, that 2-fret space you've got here from, you know, carrying on from that position. So that shouldn't be too difficult to remember, you know, and you can kind of experiment with that a little bit as well, which is kind of worthwhile. And one thing that we're going to take a look at in the future, I've already taken a very, very brief look at this, is the blues scale, whereby you just add one note. And that's what we were doing in that lick. Rather than it just being like that, we add this note, which is the blue note, right? Alright? So that's something to also, it's just one note to throw into the pentatonic, which can really bring quite a bit of, you know, interest to it, as it were. Okay? So try and think of little ways that you can remember pentatonic. So for example, the third shape, you got the fair shape, as you know, which we've been through loads of times, second shape and all that. Well, the third shape at the top end, on the bass end, you always know when you're in position 3 that it's just that same thing, what I'm saying to you, that 2-fret space. So in this instance, 10 to 12, 10, 12, 10, 12, 10, 12. And wherever you're playing the pentatonic, whatever key you're going to play it in, you'll always know that position 3, you've got that nice simple shape to fall back on. And this is what I'm talking about. It's about remembering little things like that. Okay, it's really going to help you. Okay, are you still here, Julie? Yeah, I think I'm hoping she is, Pat. Yeah, hopefully that's the case. Alright, so I'm going to play you another little song now. Hopefully you're ready for another song. And this was a popular song that I did over on Patreon. Goes like this. Well, listen here, people, I'm about to sing a song. St. Louis, and won't be long, 'cause I'm wild about my love. I like to have my fun. If you're gonna be a girl of mine, you gotta bring it with you when you come. Well, hello, Sergeant, the Chief of Police. The women round here give me no peace, 'cause I'm wild about my love. I like to have my fun. If you're gonna be a girl of mine, you gotta bring it with you when you come. Well, hello, Central, what's the matter with your line? I wanna talk with that little angel of mine, and I'm wild about my loving. I likes to have my fun. If you're gonna be a girl of mine, you gotta bring it with you when you come. If you're gonna be a girl of mine, you gotta bring it with you when you come. And that's a very old song written in the 1920s by a chap called Jim Jackson. And again, it's another lovely little finger-picked song, which isn't too difficult to learn. And I'm hoping, that you can take me up on some of these ideas, because, it's always a great opportunity to play along with me. If you were working on any of these songs that I've covered, you're going to find that pretty much everything I play, with a little bit of exception, is something that I've done a lesson on. So theoretically, you can come onto the Joe Show and pretty much play everything along with me if you've kind of, done your homework. But that would be quite a lot of work for you to think about doing. All right, so, as I say, time always gets the better of us. We have 10 minutes left, and, I just don't know where it goes. I ain't got a clue. I'm hoping practicing it for finger picking. Well, that's great. Hey, look, Pat, I'm really glad that you enjoyed that. Thank you very, very much indeed. It's funny, because the songs you've said you've enjoyed tonight, I wasn't sure that you would. So I'm really, really pleased that you have anyway. Andrew, do you notice the treble being slightly louder than the D shape? Does the scale length make slightly higher sound for finger picking? Very interesting, that, Andrew. I was watching a few YouTube videos about the Dreadnought v the treble O, and indeed, it does have a little more volume, which is a strange thing. You wouldn't think this would have more volume when it comes to finger picking, but indeed it kind of does. Whereas the Dreadnought will blow this out of the water when it comes to kind of strumming and loudness. Once you start playing it and give it a little bit of a wallop, the Dreadnought's quite a loud guitar. But it's interesting with some of these small guitars, because you think they would have less volume, but it's not always the case. Okay, now then, I was talking to you about Memphis Mini. It's been a real bluesy evening tonight, hasn't it? And I know that many people out there like the blues, and I don't always play much blues on the Joe Show. I mean, obviously I always try and play a little bit, but generally, I play a lot of Beatles and a lot of other stuff. So it's kind of nice to just have some mellow laid back stuff tonight. We've got a little fly round here trying to join me for the show tonight. So now this next one I'm going to do is a good case in point, whereby if you've had a chance to look at this Memphis Mini track, then you can join me. Now, you may remember that I've said, you know, the rhythm, the easy lesson is where it's like a strumming, okay? Nice and easy. This kind of thing. Hopefully some of you have had a look at that. You need your capo on the 2nd fret, playing in A, just basically A and D and stuff. And for those of you who are really brave, you can join me for the finger picking. Alright, so see, you could maybe try and join me for this if you wanted to. Hey Anada, great to see you tonight. I'm glad you could make it. Okay, you've just come towards the very end of the show, but nevertheless, it's great to have you here. Alright, 1, 2, 3. I was born in Louisiana, I was raised in Algiers. Everywhere I've been, the people's all say, ain't nothing rambling, neither running round. Well, I believe I'll marry, woo, Lord, and settle down. I first left home, I stopped in Tennessee, and people's all begging, come stay with me, ain't nothing rambling, neither running round. Well, I believe I'll get me a good gal, woo, Lord, and settle down. I was walking through the alley with my hand in my coat. The police started to shoot me, I thought it was something I stole, ain't nothing rambling, I believe I'll marry, woo, Lord, and settle down. Walking and crying, some is starving, some is dying, ain't nothing rambling, either running round. Well, I believe I'll marry, woo, Lord, and settle down. You may go to Hollywood and try to get on screen, but I'm staying right here. Eat the charity beans, ain't nothing rambling, either running round. But I believe I'll marry, woo, Lord, and settle down. They have a bad ending, right, to a good song, and that's Nothing in Rambling by the great Memphis Mini. As you know, I've got a little bit of a thing going for her songs. I really like her music and stuff like that. And she was married to, I think, either 2 or 3 different guys. Kansas Joe, Little Joe, she had a thing for Joes, funnily enough, and they all accompanied her on the guitar. But interestingly enough, she played a lot of the difficult parts, you know. So rather than the great to see you, David, tonight, David Stanley. So you'd think she might play some of the easier parts, given that she's singing, but now she's playing all the kind of playing all that kind of stuff, which is kind of interesting. You'd think, you know, if she was, you know, doing all the singing and stuff, she'd take the easy route, but not so, not with Memphis Minnie. Right, folks, okay. End of the show coming up. We've got another song to do, though, as we all know, and that song is called Wonderful Tonight. Get your guitars ready now, folks, because that's what we're going to be doing right very, very soon. As long as I pull my words up, I will be joining you soon. So get yourselves warmed up, have a little blow the cobwebs away. Now remember that we have an intro in this song, and you can, most of you will know what that intro is. Simro, I like it. Alright, so you know. Most people know what that is, okay? So I'm glad your girlfriend likes this one, Wesley. I hope she's listening. She's going to have the whole world playing this, from people all around the world playing this song, all right? So I'm just going to give you a moment to get ready and get tuned up. We're going to get straight into this one. And I'm expecting very good things for this one. Some of you might be able to do the... So it'd be nice if some of you do that. I'm going to play the intro chord so you can do that. And then we're going to be going straight into the vocals. Hey Palmer, you've joined the show. You've just joined at the last minute, but it's great to see you, Palmer. We're just going to do a play along. And Michael, great to see you too. We're just on the very final few minutes of the show. So if you want to grab your guitar and join us for Wonderful Tonight, I'm going to give you a moment. A huge thanks to everybody who's tuned in tonight. It's great to be back. And we'll talk about that in a moment. When I'm going to be back here with you and stuff like that. In fact, I've got a feeling that the next I've got a gig a fortnight today. I'm fairly sure of that. Hello, Russia. I'm not entirely sure, but I will definitely... Look, I'd like to make a point of this, that if you're interested in the Joe Show and knowing when the Joe Show's on, well, so far it's been as regular as clockwork. We've done it every fortnight through COVID, and you folks have been tremendous joining me for this show right throughout the whole period. I had a call last week about some gigs, which I was pleased about because it's been a long time since I've played. It was only a handful. I'm waiting for the main guy to get back to me about, you know, the bulk of the work I'm hoping to do this year. But it's important that you just keep an eye on the Facebook group page. Patreon obviously always get the kind of updates of everything that I'm doing, and over on YouTube. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put out a video to let you all know when the next show will be, because I need to confirm some dates. So it might be that the next Joe Show is moved, okay, to a different day or a different time, or it's probably going to be a different day if I'm being realistic, okay? So yeah, it would be great to go live from the gig, but the place where I'm playing signal's absolutely rubbish, so you know, yeah, Paul, I'm afraid so. It's kind of, you know, the time has beaten us tonight. I started a little bit early tonight. I don't know where you've been, Paul, whether you've been here for the whole show or not, but it does go very, very quickly. And here we go now with a little bit of Eric Clapton. Wonderful Tonight. I hope you've all got your guitars in your hand. It goes like this: 2, 3, 4, and... Lovely stuff. Those of you who are playing that solo, it's late in the evening, she's wondering what clothes to wear. She puts on her makeup Great soloing, guys. Fantastic. Well done. We go to a party and everyone turns to see this beautiful lady that's walking around with me, and then she asks me, do you feel alright? I say yeah, I feel wonderful tonight. I feel wonderful because I see the love light in your eyes, and the wonder of it all is that you just don't realize how much I love you. Ah, absolutely wonderful, folks. Really brilliant. Really impressed with those of you having a go at this. Fantastic. It's time to go home now, and I've got an aching head, so I give her the car key. She helps me to bed, and then I tell her, as I turn out the light, I said, my darling, you look wonderful tonight. Yeah, my darling, you look wonderful tonight. Bravo, folks. That's all I can say. You took my breath away that time. Absolutely fantastic. Well done to you. Bravo. Gotta give you all a fantastic big round of applause for your efforts tonight. I think you've done really, really well. So well done. And you know, you can always make some suggestions for what maybe the song should be on the next play along. It'd be always nice to kind of know what your thoughts are for that. And so I'd just like to say, you know, a huge thanks to each and every one of you. I'm always very, very grateful for you joining me for the show, as usual. I'd like to say a few farewells to Gary Curtis and Leo Gibson. Palmer, I like it, Palmer, if only. And Wesley, great to see you. Adrian, wow, great to see you, Adrian. I can't be doing the old you know how to play that, Adrian. Rest of it. Yeah, we're done. Maybe next time, Adrian. Yeah. All right. So Karina, Paul, thank you very much. David Stanley, I'll see you later. Take care. You know what? Super Ring of Fire, Simro. Okay. Yeah, it's another one worth looking at, Simro. I'll have to take a look at that. Julie, thank you very much indeed for joining us for this one tonight. Thinking of you, and thanks for joining us. Francoise, you're very welcome. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, Pat, for being here tonight. It's fantastic. David Price, I think I've covered pretty much everybody there. If there's anybody I haven't, as I say, Wesley, good night to you. Karina, Margaret, hey, Margaret, great to see you. And like I say, Jeannie, so you miss me next time, next week, next one for sure. Well, I hope so, Jeannie. It'd be great to see you. Gordon, Tour de France in the afternoon. Joe in the evening. Bristol Blues there. I was starting to wonder about you, Bristol Blue and Gordon. So it's wonderful to see you all tonight, folks. I won't keep you. I'll let you get on with your evening. But do remember what I said and keep an eye out for the kind of update about what we're going to do for the next show, because I'm fairly safe to say I don't think it's going to be in a fortnight today. All right. So there's going to be a slight adjustment to that. So please do keep an eye out. All right, for that, because I don't want you to miss it. You make this show, all right? And a great big hurrah for England on Sunday. Let's hope we can do something. It's been over 50 years since we have, so my fingers are crossed, and I'm hoping that we do. All right, folks, thanks for watching. You take care. Great to see you all. All the best. See you next time.